So last week I did a video on the fact that this is the first time in 20 years that Montana has a slower growth rate than the rest of the country. Well, part of the reason for that is because 36,000 people left Montana in the year 2024. In this video, I'm going to tell you the top 5 states that they left Montana for and why I think they picked those states. So obviously with 36,000 people leaving Montana last year, they pretty much went to every state. But in this video, we're going to go over the top 5 states that people from Montana moved to. And I think you're going to be surprised, especially at number 1, as to what states they're moving to from Montana. So let's start out with the number 5 state that people in Montana have left for, and that's the state of Arizona. Obviously, people that have lived in Montana and that have gone through the winters here would probably think Arizona's pretty nice when you don't have to shovel snow and you have nice weather all winter long. So that's why Arizona came in number 5 on the list of the states people have moved to from Montana. Arizona also has better health care, and if you're getting older, it's just obviously more people down in Phoenix and more choices as far as healthcare. And because Arizona is such a retirement type state, they're going to have more choices for healthcare than you would up here in Montana. A couple of the things that I think people that move to Arizona are going to miss is that Montana, we have 4 definite seasons, whereas Arizona, you have nice summer and you have hot summer. And I used to live in an area like that, so I'm aware of how that works, and you kind of get sick of, you know, as weird as it sounds, you get sick of seeing days like this every single day. It never changes. It's always sunny. And again, sounds nice on paper, but when you actually live it, it can get a little old. So I think people are going to miss the seasons. Also, because of the lack of population here compared to Arizona, is you're going to have way better air quality up here. And finally, we have a lot more water here. As you can see behind me, it's one of the lakes we have, and there's lakes and rivers all over the place here in northwest Montana, and I believe people are going to miss that once they're down in Arizona for a while. So number 4 on the list of states that people are leaving Montana for is kind of understandable. It's Colorado. Colorado is pretty similar to Montana as far as the mountains go in the landscape like the one I'm standing in. You can find that down in Colorado. And that's why it makes sense that a lot of people in Montana will choose Colorado to move to if they are sick of living here for whatever reason that may be. So one of the big draws in Colorado that we don't have here is the amount of jobs they offer. Denver's a huge city, and there's other obviously large cities around Colorado where Montana just doesn't have. So you're going to have a lot more job opportunities, and the wages are probably going to be way better down in the Denver area than you're going to find pretty much anywhere here in Montana. So makes sense that Colorado made the list, so you can have the mountains and what we have here, but with good paying jobs and other opportunities that you may not find here in Montana. One of the negatives about Colorado compared to Montana is you're going to have way more people. It's way more crowded. I don't know if you guys have driven through Denver lately, but it's a nightmare. And it's just gotten so huge. And that whole corridor along the Rockies there is just way more crowded than anywhere in Montana. So if you're looking to, you know, get away from people, maybe Colorado isn't your spot. But obviously, being number 4 on our list here, a lot of people have made the decision to move to Colorado from Montana. Number 3 on the list also kind of makes sense. It's our next door neighbor of Idaho. There's many reasons why people would choose to move to Idaho from here. Idaho kind of has a little bit of what Colorado has with Boise. Boise's turned into a pretty big city, so there's a lot more job opportunities down there, a lot of better paying jobs down there. But again, tons and tons of people, and it's super crowded, and the roads aren't great yet, and they're kind of trying to catch up with the population growth that they've had in Boise over the last few years. So That's one of the negatives down there. Idaho does have a little bit better taxes than we do, as far as state income tax is a little bit lower in Idaho, but we don't have sales tax, which they do have over in Idaho. Idaho also has the Coeur d'Alene area, along with Boise. It's turned into a pretty big area because it's so close to Spokane, Washington, and it's drivable. You can live in Idaho, get the tax benefits, but drive over to Spokane for work every day for better paying jobs, and a lot of people choose to do that. But in between Coeur d'Alene and Boise, it's pretty rural, so you can still get the very rural feel like you can get here in Montana, but the roads there are not nearly as nice as they are here. In fact, I used to live in Idaho, so I'm well aware of the road situation. So like when people go from Boise up to McCall, Idaho, which is a lot like, say, Whitefish is in the Flathead Valley, it's a 100-mile drive, but that road is horrible. It's 2-lane most of the way, and now with all the population growth, it takes forever to navigate that road up from Boise to McCall, and it would take a ton of work to get that highway big enough to handle all the traffic that goes up there every weekend. You know, everybody in Boise goes up in the mountains on the weekend, they head up to McCall, and so it just takes forever on that 2-lane road when you got campers and people doing the looky-loo, because it's a beautiful drive, but definitely much slower than it once was with all the new population that has moved out west lately. And that brings us to the number 2 state on the list, and it's Oregon. And Oregon is kind of a surprise to me because the politics over there are completely opposite of what they are here. In fact, you hear people here complaining all the time about, you know, oh, I moved from Oregon and, you know, it's just I had to get away from the craziness. So the fact that it's now number 2 on the list of places people are moving to from Montana, I found pretty surprising. Obviously, they have the same advantages as some of the other states I was talking about. They have bigger cities, higher paying jobs, way more opportunities, but you have the higher taxes over there, and just the totally different politics, and the way people see things over there is way different from Montana. The other thing that you have over there that we don't have is obviously the Pacific Ocean. So if you're into wanting to live by the coast, if you're into fishing out there, whatever it may be, obviously Oregon has that as a huge advantage over Montana, and maybe that's part of the reason it's number 2 on the list for places people are moving to from Montana. And that brings us to the number 1 state that people are leaving Montana to move to, and that would be the state of Washington. Again, a lot like Oregon, surprising because the politics in Washington are way different than they are in Montana, but as I've said with the other states, with Seattle and all of the cities over there on the coast, you're going to have way more job opportunities and better paying jobs, the whole deal. You also have the ocean, and Oregon or Washington is very similar to this area too, with the hiking and the mountains and skiing and everything you want, and just the proximity to Seattle and the bigger areas where there's more to be offered, as you know. The prices in Washington are also pretty high. The housing prices are actually higher than they are over here in Montana for the most part. I mean, there's areas in both places that'll beat the other one, but overall, the prices are higher in Washington, so you better have a good job when you get over there and be ready to pay a lot more taxes than you do here in Montana. So if you don't like a lot of people, you don't like high taxes, and you don't like traffic, then you may decide to stay in Montana. But that doesn't change the fact that in 2024, the most people that left Montana moved to the state of Washington. I found that pretty surprising. Let me know what you guys think in the comments, and let me know where you guys would move if it couldn't be to Montana.
Thank you for watching our video. Please call, text, or email for more information. And don't forget to watch our other videos about Montana.